Four friends, Jack, Emily, Mark, and Sarah, decided to go on a camping trip far away from the city. Their navigation led them to a small, forgotten town that didn't even appear on old maps. They had never heard of it before, and curiosity quickly overcame their doubts. At the entrance of the town, there was a large, rusty sign. Raven Creek, 1,954 inches. But inside, it was completely empty. Not a single sound of people, not a bird's chirp, just dead silence. The streets seemed oddly well-maintained, but everything else felt frozen in time. Emily frowned. Why was this place abandoned? Jack shrugged. Maybe there was a natural disaster, a flood or something. But Mark was looking around with increasing curiosity. This place was emptied out in an instant. Look, the shops are still open, and there are plates on the tables. It's like everyone just disappeared. Sarah shuddered, feeling a sense of unease creeping over her. This doesn't feel right. It feels like something is watching us. Then something caught their attention. A rusty old bicycle was standing in the middle of the street, all alone, and the wheel was slowly turning. But there wasn't even a breeze. The silence was suffocating. They exchanged uneasy glances, unsure of what to make of it. Just as they were about to question it suddenly, the bells of the church began to toll. But there was no one here, so who was ringing the bell? What? The four friends walked toward the church. As they approached, the old wooden doors creaked as if they hadn't been opened in years. When they pushed them open, it was pitch dark inside. Dusty wooden pews, cobwebs in the corners, and an old faded portrait hanging crookedly on the wall. But the most terrifying thing was, there was someone sitting in the church. An old man with a pale face, sitting on one of the pews, his head bowed. He was dressed in worn, tattered clothes, as though he had been there for decades. Emily nervously asked, "Excuse me, are you all right?" The man slowly lifted his head and, in a hushed voice, whispered, "You must leave by 3 o'clock. If you don't, it will come." Jack asked in confusion, "Who will come?" But the old man didn't answer. He just stared at them, his eyes wide with an unreadable expression. Then, in a soft whisper, he added, "It's already close." They checked their watches. 2:58. Mark laughed nervously. "This is ridiculous. There's nothing here. We're just overthinking it." But the unease was growing stronger. The church felt colder, the air thick with something they couldn't quite identify. Just then, the church door slammed shut with a loud bang echoing through the empty hall. And they heard a sound from outside. The heavy dragging sound of metal chains scraping against the ground. Sarah held her breath, her body freezing in place. "What? What is that?" The dragging sound grew louder, and then thud, 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 the footsteps of someone. It was getting closer. They turned toward the door, but it was too late to leave. Jack looked out the window in fear and whispered, "Someone's coming." Outside, under the dim streetlight, a tall, shadowy figure appeared. Its face was hidden, but it was holding a rusty chain. It dragged the chain along the ground, moving slowly toward them. And then, the man's eyes turned completely white. The temperature in the room dropped suddenly. The walls seemed to close in around them. "We need to leave now," Emily shouted, panic creeping into her voice. But the door was locked. There was no way out. And then, as if in response to their fear, the figure outside raised the chain and swung it down with a loud clang. The sound reverberated through the church like a warning. To be continued.